Welcome to a very special edition of On the Hunt, live from the United Nations today as we focus on the crisis in Syria, what it means for the people of Syria, what it means for the region of the Middle East, and what it means for the United States and the world. It appears right now that the regime of President Bashar al-Assad, which has been fighting the opposition for close to 2 years now, seems to be getting closer to collapse. The opposition fighters have made significant gains in recent days, pushing towards the center of Damascus. There is intense fighting, we are told, around Damascus airport, and many flights into that airport have been cancelled as a result. Today, some 29 students and a teacher, 9th graders, were apparently killed in a mortar attack on a school in a Damascus suburb. And of course, there are these growing fears that President Assad may strike out at the end using chemical weapons. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, President Obama, and now the NATO chief are all on record as saying that would be a red line for the international community, and that the international community would, without doubt, take action if and when President Bashar al-Assad uses those chemical weapons, which, according to U.S. officials, have been moved in recent days. Whether they've been moved out of their facilities ready for use appears to be an open question, but there has definitely been activity at those chemical weapons facilities. So we are certainly seem to be approaching a new stage in this ongoing civil war in Syria. So let's get to what it all means. We're delighted to be joined now by Youssef Amrani, who is the Deputy Foreign Minister of Morocco. Good to see you, sir. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Mr. Foreign Minister, first of all, I want to get to Morocco in a few minutes, of course, because it's an interesting case in the whole so-called Arab Spring, the way that you've introduced reforms and headed off protests there. But let's deal with the urgent question, first of all, Syria. How dangerous is the situation in Syria now? Do you believe that President Bashar al-Assad may indeed use those chemical weapons?
Listen, first of all, the status quo is untenable today in Syria. We need to support the Syrian opposition, and we need to continue the pressure against the Bashar al-Assad regime because the human dimension of this conflict is also untenable, and we need to move forward. To move forward, Morocco is convening next week in Marrakesh the meeting of the group of Friends of Syria, with the presence of the foreign ministers of the groups of Syria, including Clinton, Laurent Fabius and others, to listen to the Syrian opposition. Now I think that there is a major step. The Marrakesh conference will be an opportunity to support, to give all kind of support to the Syrian opposition to move forward. Because the most important today is how to achieve a democratic transition in Syria, how to achieve the reconciliation, national reconciliation, and have to stop. As far as the WMDs, including the chemical weapons, of course, this is unacceptable. They cannot be used in this conflict, and we should use all our means in the Security Council to avoid any catastrophe. The situation is already so bad, we don't need any other complication.
I think everybody seems to have given up on any action from the Security Council. It appears to me, Foreign Minister, that if there is to be action, if those chemical weapons are used, and that is still obviously a big if at this point, it's far more likely to come via NATO and perhaps led by the United States. Would you agree with that?
Well, of course, we will talk about this in Marrakesh next week. It will be an important outcome to see, because we're going to listen to the Syrian opposition. What are their priorities? How they want their actions to be undertaken, and we will support them, in any action they want to undertake at the level of the region, the UN, NATO, any other gathering.
Now, the Marrakesh conference is obviously, as you say, going to be a critical one, one of a series we have seen of the so-called Friends of Syria group, the bringing together the opposition groups within Syria in an atmosphere where you can try to talk to them. What is your impression, Foreign Minister, of where those opposition groups are now? Who is the strongest among them? Because we know very well there are many factions. There are some factions which some some U.S. officials and many people here in the United States might find disturbing, the hardline Islamists fighting there. What is your impression of what will happen in Syria with those opposition groups when, as he ultimately will, President Assad is either pushed aside or steps aside?
Listen, today I think the priority should be how to move forward with the resolution of this conflict. How we should support, the democratically elected Syrian opposition. This is the most important. Now, as far as the future, of course, then we will see how to build up a new democratic Syria, which is based on inclusivity, that all different factions should be included in the opposition. But today the priority is to free Syria from dictatorship and to let the Syrian people freely decide about their future that should be democratic, that should be inclusive, and should be in conformity with our common values of the respect of human rights and democracy.
A democratic, inclusive Syria sounds like a very nice dream, Foreign Minister. The reality, according to a lot of experts, at least in the immediate aftermath of the Assad regime, is far more likely to be some sort of bloodbath between ethnic groups, between hardline Islamists and more moderates. Most experts would say we're going to have a period of great chaos before we get to even think about a democratic Syria. What's your take on that?
I think we should avoid this scenario. This is the worst scenario. I think today there is some changes in the Arab world. We should take some good the lesson of some good experiences, try to avoid the mistakes, try to support them, try to accompany this transition, and try to through legal means combat extremism.
All right, Foreign Minister, let me get to your country, first of all, Morocco,
yes.
As you say, playing a critical role in this Syrian crisis, hosting the Conference of the Friends of Syria in Marrakesh, as you said just a little earlier. By the way, Marrakesh, one of my favorite cities in the world. It's beautiful. I'd recommend everybody go there. But you had your own rumblings of discontent when the Arab Spring began just about 2 years ago. You seem to have headed it off, and Morocco seems to be a very calm and stable country right now. How did you do that?
Well, because first of all, we had the leadership of the King Mohammed II, who started the consolidation of the reform process 10 years ago. So when the Arab Spring came, we were ready to face all kinds of challenges because we have interaction mechanism, we have a new constitution where there is the respect of human rights, the freedom of the press, gender equality, these are essential, and because we have a political parties and active civil society. And we have an approach that is inclusive. That's why today the most important for us is to consolidate our democratic processes, is to open up our economy. And in this context, I'm here today in Washington to strengthen the strategic dialogue between Morocco and the US, two countries that share the same values, that are committed to work together. I think what is important is the genuine approach we have been doing in Morocco to free the country, to develop human rights, and to open up our economy through free trade agreements. I think that the Moroccan experience is a model for the region because we were at the same time working on the political development through democracy and also through economic development. And we believe that these are two faces of the same coin. We should promote economic openness, to create jobs, to promote growth, and at the same time to liberalize our country, to democratize our system through a new constitution. And this was done because the King of Morocco had the vision since a long time ago to move forward with the modern Moroccan society, open to the world and in conformity with its values.
All right, Foreign Minister, thank you very much indeed. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And once again, I highly recommend anybody who fancies a trip to the region to stop by Morocco. It is a beautiful, wonderful and historic country. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you very much for the kind words about Morocco.